21, he's seen the fights. Johnny's 58, chasing the lights. Both had battles that brought them low, but they found a way to steal the show. Health concerns were weighing them down till they found a path that turned it around. Carnivore diet, they took the lead, finding strength in the promises they keep. Now they're living wild, living free, healing body and mind, just wait and see. Tune into the truth every single week. Real talk with Brian and Johnny, that's the peak. 8 p.m. on YouTube, gather near, uplifting vibes, let's give a cheer.
All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. Johnny, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Brian. Good to see you, mate, bud.
Good. So our topic tonight is going to be supplementation on the carnivore diet. While we get started here, as people are coming in, go ahead and say hi in the chat. I know Rick is here.
Rick.
Already commenting about supplements. Duck eggs and iguana are his supplements. So hello, Rick. Like I said, if you have a question for us, put a capital Q in front so that we can easily see that there's a question, and say hi in the chat and so forth, and then we'll go from there. Carnivorous dude is here. Hello. So he's asking why supplement. So I'll let Johnny answer that in just a second, but I'll just say really quick, there's different reasons why somebody might supplement. We may not even be talking about a nutritional supplement like a vitamin, first of all, but also some people may have particular medical conditions where they do need to supplement. Other people, as long as they are eating all the right foods within carnivore, may not need to supplement at all. So that's what I'll say. Johnny, I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, I agree, Brian. I think this particular way of eating is probably the way of eating that requires the least amount of supplementation, but it's not to say it can't be helpful. I mean, some supplements, a lot of them, Brian, are garbage out there. They're just dressed up candy bars, if you will. But I think that some strategic supplementation can be advantageous, especially for older guys like us, Brian. Maybe not the 25-year-old that's exercising, getting plenty of sunshine, doing all the things right. He's not had a sick body for 50 years like you and I have. And I think that there are some supplements that might be, appropriate. Not all of them, of course. Most of them are hooey. They're, snake oil, I think. Some of them, not all. But we'll get into that. We'll get more into that. And hopefully the audience will understand when we say supplementation, maybe we're not talking about the same thing that you would think of traditional supplementation, but we'll get into that.
Okay. Just some people that are joining in chat here. Peachy Pam in Maryland. Hello. She's from Maryland, as it says. Of course, Rick is from Miami, Florida, if you guys didn't know. So,
as always. Yep.
Carnivorous dude is here from Columbus, Ohio.
Hey, Carnivorous dude, are you going to the meetup? There's a meetup in Columbus this coming weekend. Are you going to be there?
And 40 more carnivore is here. So hello. She says, I feel like we should stay away from gummy vitamins.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like Johnny said, we'll talk a little bit about things. I think that in most cases, carnivores probably don't need vitamins at all. But there might be some other supplements maybe they need. But again, I'm saying most cases because there might be particular situations where people have different medical issues that they haven't been able to heal yet, that they might need a particular vitamin or something. So
right.
Here you go. Carnivorous dude says that he organized it. So there you go. I think he'll be there.
Yeah. Yeah. I would assume you're going to be there. If I had planned to come, but I have to work this weekend. I pretty much work every weekend, so I don't know how many of those I'll get to go to, but I really would like to come. I love Columbus, Ohio. I used to drive a tractor trailer, and we had a terminal just outside of Columbus. I spent an awful lot of time in Columbus. I used to bowl in Columbus, Ohio all the time. Bowling was one of my passions. So Carnivorous dude, congratulations, man. Looks like it's going to be a fantastic success. I'm so happy for you guys.
All right. And I'll say, I actually was born in Toledo, Ohio, and grew up in that area, Midwest, Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan. So too bad I didn't still live out there, because that would only be a couple hours away.
Yeah.
But I'm on the East Coast now, pretty far away. So,
Yeah.
Paul is here.
Hey, Paul.
Hello.
Good to see you, buddy.
COQ10.
Yeah, CoQ10 is a good one. Yeah.
Yep. Back to the meetups. They're great for the soul. You know, there's been a lot of meetups out there, but there's never really been one that's been really close to me. So I have never been to a meetup before, but I do want to go to one at some point. I guess I just have to find one that's not too far in the time period that I can make it to.
Yeah. I went to one in Charlotte about a year ago. Dr. Kiltz was there. Kelly Hogan was there. Dr. Lisa Wiedemann was there. A lot of good speakers, and then a lot of just great people. I ended up having to MC the thing. The person that had MCing it wasn't doing a good job, but the sound system we had was not the best, and you could barely hear. So they asked me to MC it. So I ended up impromptu MCing this thing, which was a blast. I had a blast.
Okay. So I'm not the only one that hasn't been to a meetup. Rick hasn't either. So we need to have one in Miami so Rick can go.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is cool. Dr. Kills is going to be at the one this weekend in Columbus.
Yeah, I saw that.
Pretty cool.
He's a great guy.
Yep. Bride's Biscuit is here. Hello.
Good to see you.
COQ10, zinc, selenium, magnesium, D3K2. Cleanest ones I could find, but probably going off them soon. Labs look great on Carnivore. So Johnny too has AFib. I haven't been in AFib in over 3 years now, but I diagnosed with AFib, right? And I was taking magnesium and potassium for a while. I'm not taking them now and haven't had any issues. But I've been watching the blood work for that, watching the levels and stuff too. So that's good. But there's an example of somebody, because due to a medical thing, that was taking a supplement at the time. Now I don't need it anymore, but I was. So I'm sorry, you're going to say something, Johnny. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Speaking of, that's the first supplement I'll show here. I've got some props for me tonight, but that's my magnesium. People who are in AFib, sometimes being low in magnesium can be a factor. And so I'm taking this, I take 3 of these a day. This is magnesium glycinate, Nature's Bounty. So far, it hadn't made any difference, but I don't think it's hurt me. I did some research on Google and Chat GPT. I don't think you can really overdose on magnesium. If you take more than you really need, you just pee it out. But I'm taking it because, as everybody knows, if you followed my channel or my journey, I desperately want to get out of AFib. It doesn't really hurt me, but I'm sure it's not a good thing long term. And I've been in AFib for 18 months consecutively. So that's one reason I supplement But I still, I'm 99% carnivore, only when I have a moment of weakness. But and with the supplementation, I'm still in AFib, but hope springs eternal.
Mm-hmm. Dustin is here. Hello.
Hey, Dustin. Good to see you, bud.
All right. I think I got us caught up on comments. So, Johnny, I'll let you get us started here with some of the information you have on supplements and what supplements maybe you might take and why.
All right. Well, first of all, Brian, if anybody here saw my video from last week, it's an absolute miracle that I'm sitting here today, because I was in the back of an ambulance. Normally I'm in the front of the ambulance, or I'm the person taking care of somebody in the back, but I was the patient in the back of the ambulance last Friday. I went out to run my sprints. It was 91 or 92 degrees, 88% humidity, and I hadn't done a really good job at staying hydrated. Now, staying hydrated doesn't mean necessarily just drinking water, because you can drink too much water and that just flushes out more sodium, potassium, and magnesium because you pee it out. So LMNT, and we're not sponsored by them by any stretch. This is a brand that I've used before, so I ordered some more after what happened last week. They gave me 2 IVs full of sodium and potassium, and they got me better. And this is the LMNT. They just came in the mail about an hour ago, actually. And I get that. I don't know if you can see that there, but the raw, unflavored some of the flavored electrolyte supplements out there have sugar in them, like that Liquid IV. I think it actually has sugar in it. And then some of the elements, some of the other ones too, have artificial sweeteners. Well, I'm trying my best to steer clear of those. So LMNT, raw, unflavored. So that's and I won't need these all the time, but it's hot as blue blazes where I'm at. And I'm out running, I'm lifting weights, I'm jumping rope, I'm doing push-ups. I do most of my videos, as you guys know, from outside. And the last thing I want to do is get dehydrated like that again and end up back in the emergency room. So taking some additional electrolytes, because it's so hot and so humid where I am, I think it's appropriate. Not something I'm going to do all the time, every time, but if I know I'm going to be outside sweating more than normal, like today, I cut my grass and did a bunch of yard work out in the sun, and it was blue. It was hot as all get out there. And I had my water bottle, and because the LMT just came in a little while ago. So I got me a water bottle and from my soda stream, and I put about a fourth of a cup of Redmond's real salt in this. And I've been sipping on this all day. This is actually my third bottle of this, but I sweated a lot. So that's the case, Brian, where supplementation may be necessary just for the moment, just for the event.
Yeah. I think there's like an evolution for somebody on Carnivore too. Like when you first get started on Carnivore, especially if you just jump in, you tend to lose a lot of electrolytes because you're losing a lot of water out of your body, right? Because you're used to eating carbs. And so you're going to be getting rid of excess water. And when you get rid of the excess water, you're getting rid of your electrolytes too. So when you're first on Carnivore, a lot of times it's recommended to really pay close attention to your electrolytes and maybe take some kind of electrolyte mix like that. And a lot of doctors will say, maybe the first month or two, you need to do that. And after that, you don't really need to do that. I will say, just like in your case, it really depends on the situation though, because like for me, if I'm working out, I end up taking some kind of electrolytes. Maybe it's just some salt and water, or sometimes maybe I actually do an electrolyte mix that I have, and I'll take some of that. But I'll do that when I work out because I'm a sweater and I will sweat a lot. So I know I'm losing a lot of my electrolytes. So I'll do that when I work out. But now that I'm 3 years on the carnivore diet, that's pretty much the only time I'm doing anything with electrolytes. Or if I went outside and did an strenuous hike, something where I sweated a lot, where there's a lot of sweating. When I first started on carnivore, I was doing electrolytes more often. So that's kind of the difference there. So I agree with you, electrolytes can be something that maybe you don't need all the time. You just have to kind of watch. So I know there were some things in here. Magnesium is one of those electrolytes. Let's see what she says here. Magnesium for sleep and blood sugar regulation for a lesser extent, but carnivore cured sleep apnea and A1C now normal now. Yeah, and you know what? That's another thing. A lot of carnivores, especially early on, will say that they have trouble sleeping at night. Maybe because the extra energy they're getting or something. I don't know, from eating so much fat. So magnesium can help with them getting to sleep at night too. So that's another reason for magnesium. Rick's eating his heart attack chicken. I didn't have any chicken today, but I made some chicken for my wife. I had beef. What did I have? I had so for lunch today, I had a 20-ounce ribeye and 2 beef burger patties that were like a quarter pound each. So almost 2 pounds of beef for lunch. And then a little bit before we got on today, I had a pound of bacon and a yogurt. What did you eat today, Johnny?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Brian. We didn't rehearse that at all. I had a couple of burger patties, and this is actually one of my leftover burger patties, and I cooked it way too much. I was eating the other one, and this one was still cooking. I thought I'd turn the burner off. So I've got burger patty here, and Brian, you and I have both recently, because I've been following Dr. Sean Omar for a while, and he talks about adding, and what I guess you could call this a supplement, as adding ferments to your food. It helps with the gut microbiome. And so I've got some props here for you. This is obviously just some sauerkraut. Now, I had the sauerkraut with my very first burger patty. This is 2 of 2. And So that's, once you ferment a vegetable, it kills the oxalates and the anti-nutrients in it. And that sauerkraut is well fermented. I put it in the closet and left it in the floor for 3 months before I even opened it up. So it's plenty fermented. But I also have some, and I'll show you this. My good friend Brian has been doing a lot of yogurt, and he showed me about this brand right here. It's called Good Culture. Actually, this is cottage cheese. I'm sorry. Good Culture cottage cheese. And I have not tried this before, but the Harris Teeter grocery store right across the street from my house just started carrying this. So I bought some. And I'm actually, Brian, going to do a live taste test right here. I've never tried this before. And I do like cottage cheese, but I've never had this brand. So we're going to do a little, it's got the live, like you were telling me earlier, Brian, this has live active cultures in it, which supplements your gut microbiome. So let's see how it is.
It's different than normal cottage cheese, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's
a little different.
Yeah, it's what's the word? It's richer, much richer. It's like it's got bold flavor. It's really good. So Dr. O'Mara says chew them together. So I got the cottage cheese going. That was way too big of a bite. Anyway, so we'll call that a supplement because it's just trying to, not talking my mouth full. You're just trying to do whatever you can to optimize. Carnivore is great and it's almost perfect, but there's nothing wrong with trying to optimize, get a little bit better. The other thing that I got that I've never had before, let me finish swallowing this, but this right here, kefir. So this is more carnivore because this is animal-based versus the sauerkraut. And this has, if I can find it on here, 25 to 30 billion CFUs. And I'm sure that has something to do with live active cultures. But in a minute, I'm going to open this up and I'm going to taste a little kefir, which I have never had before. My wife's had it. She says it's kind of a pungent taste. We'll find out here in a few minutes. Again, that's just to give my my gut microbiome a little more live active cultures to try and optimize my health. I'm not saying that you have to do this to do carnivore. You can do carnivore without any of this, obviously. And you're still going to be markedly better than all of your peers. But why not? Why not try a few supplements like this and see if it helps?
That cottage cheese is great. They've got like a low fat one, then they've got the regular one, which I think is 4% milk fat. Yep. And then they have a double cream. I have not been able to find the double cream anywhere. It's really hard to find that brand anyway. Good Culture. But in case you're wondering, places I've been able to find it is Walmart, Target, and Giant grocery stores. But not all the Giants, not all the Targets, and not all the Walmarts by me carry it. And when they do have, even though they carry it, they may not have it in stock. I found that it's very hard to find. It's a small company, and they're having a hard time keeping up with the demand because it is a good product, very healthy product, and a lot of people are trying to get it. There's a lot of comments I want to get to, but before I do that, just wanted to talk a little bit about this. So you're talking about, your gut, and so forth. For probably the first almost 3 years on the carnivore diet, I didn't really think much of it with that kind of stuff. And I didn't do anything with, trying to find foods that had like live cultures and stuff like that in it for the fermentation. And I felt like I was okay. And I'm sure everybody that doesn't do that probably does feel fine. I will say what kind of turned me onto it was I took an antibiotic because I got sick and they gave me an antibiotic and I had a reaction to the antibiotic, and it kind of destroyed my what do you want to say, my gut microbiome, I guess is what I should say. That's the way I should say it, right? And so I started eating things like sour cream and cottage cheese to get that back in order, and started watching more of some of the videos from Dr. Sean O'Mara about fermented foods and so forth. So I do think that I've noticed a difference with eating like the cottage cheese. I said sour cream, I meant yogurt, not sour cream. I guess I was thinking sour cream, because if you get the plain yogurt, it tastes like sour cream. But that's what you want to do. You want to be careful. Don't get the stuff that has a lot of sugar in it and stuff like that, right? Same thing like with the cottage cheese. That's a pretty good quality cottage cheese from Good Culture. So one of the things about fermented foods that I found out I did not know before, like if you get like some kind of vegetable that's fermented, the fermentation process takes all the toxins out of all the plant toxins out of it and the carbohydrate. So the only way it may still have carbohydrates in it is if after they do the fermentation, they go and add stuff to put it on the shelf, things like sugar and so forth. So watch out for that. If you can actually do your own fermentation, that works out even better. And then it's really kind of more like carnivore because you've taken out the plant toxins and the carbohydrate and all that stuff. So that's one thing I wanted to say about that. But let me catch up on comments because there's a lot of comments in here.
Sure.
Bright Biscuit says, I did get keto flu back before carnivore starting keto. And yeah, that's one reason why people have to take electrolytes in the beginning is because of those symptoms that they get. They may have things like diarrhea and again, going to the bathroom more often, just peeing out electrolytes and so forth. So that's all part of the keto flu, as we like to call it. Carnivorous Dude says, I use Redmond's Relight capsules in the beginning.
Good deal.
Now I just add Redmond salt to all my water.
And I just started that today, Brian. I just started adding salt to my water today. So,
okay. Magnesium has been shown to increase body's production of melatonin, so it did help with sleep. Yep. Carnivorous Dude fasted for 72 hours and broke it with 5 cans of sardines. That's rough. 5 cans of sardines. Wow. More power to you. I don't know that I could do that, but hey. Bright's Biscuit. I've heard a lot of people who started Element, then switched to salt tea. Yep.
I've done both. I've ordered from Salt Tea before. They're good.
Yeah, there's been some info out there about Element having some fake sugars in theirs. I think those, the ones you've got though is the unflavored, and I think those are okay if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. It's the ones that have flavoring in them that have the fake sugars, but yeah. Rick says sauerkraut on a heart attack burger. There you go. Good. Back to the cottage cheese. Good Culture cottage cheese is awesome and super clean. They have a double cream. Yes, I cannot find the double cream one, but I guess the last time I went to store, Walmart didn't have any in stock. I went to Giant and they had 3 of the smaller things of cottage cheese, and that was all that was left. I bought all 3. I need to get more. I'm out now.
And Brian,
Greg is here.
Let me say on that. Hey, Greg. Let me say on that, Brian. You said also if you have a Harris Teeter grocery store near you, that's where I got mine from, Harris Teeter. And yeah, this stuff is very clean. I mean, the ingredients are almost nothing. Yeah. Skim milk, organic whole milk, organic cream, sea salt, live and active cultures. You can't get any cleaner than that for a ferment.
And it's pasture raised. They come from pasture raised cows. So yes. So Greg, hello, good to see you. Rick says that you need to report on how the fermented foods help. Yeah, I think that would be cool to see how, like a week or so into it, how it's going. Rick has fermented banana flowers. That's interesting. I think this might be the Good Culture. Whole Foods, Amazon Fresh has it. I get it here in New York. Yeah. Fortunately, I don't have any of those. I don't have a Harris Teeter by me either, but oh well. Greg asks if we've ever done a cleanse to get rid of parasites. How about you, Johnny?
The closest thing I've done to a cleanse is back at the end of June, 1st of July, I did a 100-hour fast. And I don't know if that's what Greg's referring to. I've never done any type of juice cleanse or any of those high fiber cleanses. I've never done any of that, but doing that 100-hour fast was, I guess you can consider that a cleanse. I didn't have any, nothing but water went in my stomach for 100 hours. So that might be a cleanse-like thing.
Yeah. Okay. I have never really done anything myself, so no.
I will say one thing,
Rick,
Brian.
yep, go ahead.
Rick was wanting me to report on after, and like you said, in a couple of weeks or whatever, how the ferment's going. Well, I've been doing the sauerkraut for probably close to 2 weeks now. And one thing I've noticed, and this is going to get into that TMI category, every morning when I wake up now, I have a bowel movement, a really good, when I say good, I mean, like when I wipe, there's nothing on the toilet paper. So every day, probably the third day in, I have a normal, regular bowel movement every morning. And, a lot of carnivores, like before, I was only going to the restroom number 2 once or twice a week. And now I'm going every morning when I wake up, and it's, it's better than it's been in years and years and years, meaning when I wipe, there's really nothing on, I could use like one little piece of toilet paper and I'm good. And that wasn't the case for a lot of years. So far, I feel like I've had some benefits, at least in the digestion department. But I will report as I keep going.
Okay. It's interesting. I hear from a lot of carnivores that they only go to the bathroom once every 2, 3, 4 days. I pretty much go every day. It's usually just once a day. Occasionally I miss a day, but most of the time I go every day. Now, before carnivore, I was probably going 2 or 3 times a day. So maybe that's the difference, but I still go every day. I've never run into that. Like a lot of carnivores will say that it's 2, 3, even 4 days in between. I don't know. Anyways, Rick says make your own yogurt. Yep. And you can ferment your own veggies. He also ferments onions and tomatoes. Yeah. And that's the best way to do it, right? Because if you're buying it at the store, you've got to be very careful to make sure that after they fermented, they didn't add something to it, because that sometimes happens. And also, so when you're doing the fermenting, the part of it is getting the live cultures, right? The live bacteria. And if you're buying it at the store, you don't know if it's been exposed to light too much. That bacteria could have been killed off, and then it's not really going to help going in your body. So if you are fermenting your own, then you can store it somewhere away from sunlight and that kind of stuff, or even, big lights in your house or whatever. So that's a really good thing. So that's cool that Rick does that. Paul says D3K2 iodine. Yeah. Another thing too, vitamin D3 and magnesium and potassium tend to go pretty well together. Sometimes when you're actually having trouble with absorbing vitamin D3, it's actually because your magnesium or your potassium is low.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Brian, I poured this up a few seconds ago, so let me go ahead and do this. This is that kefir.
Okay, this is the kefir?
Which is,
yep.
Yeah, and it's Lifeway, and this is plain unsweetened. So, I'm always looking for the unsweetened, unflavored, like we all should. So here it goes. I've never had it. Kind of got a little bit of a smell to it, but not bad. So here we go. My on-screen taste. This may be, if I run that way, there's a bathroom right there. But let's see how it goes. It's not bad. It's just real. I don't know if you can see that. It's just really, really thick. It's not like a liquid. It's more like milk and magnesia. But it's very, very strong flavor.
I'm surprised you drank so much of it at once. I thought you were just going to take a little sip at first to make sure you liked it.
It's so thick. It took a long time to get to my mouth because it won't. I mean, it's not paste, but it's pretty close. But hey, I'm going to do some and then have a bite of my meat. Okay. Right. Probably all the kefir I'm going to drink on camera tonight. But it's like intense sour cream. If you can imagine in sour cream on steroids, that's what it reminds me of. But it's really good. It's just too much good,
Sour cream on steroids. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I have not tried it before.
You've tried it?
I have not. I wanted to talk about this comment here from Paul, apple cider vinegar. This is another one that Dr. Sean O'Mara talks about, especially if you can get like a more of an organic apple cider vinegar. We'll make sure that's a pretty clean one. That's another good one for your gut. Vinny, and I don't know if I'm going to say this last name right, Tortorich, I'm not sure who that is, has an ultra salt supplement that is supposed to mimic everything you sweat out. I use it and it's good. Cool. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. Do you know who that is, Johnny?
not heard that before, but there's a Dr. Stan Egbert. I don't know if you got Dr. Stan Egbert. He's kind of a low carb guy. I've been watching him for years. He has one that he makes too that's supposed to be very, very similar to what your perspiration would be. But I do Redmond's real salt, and it's ironic, Brian. When I was in the hospital a week ago, just a week ago, not even a week ago, they drew my labs while I was in there, and they checked my sodium level, of course, because they were checking everything to see why I was passing out. But I'm salting the living crap out of all my food. I mean, I am putting so much Redmond salt that I got to go buy some more, and my sodium was dead center middle of normal. You would think it would be up a little bit. And I know I had sweated a lot then, but I had my labs checked back on May the 1st. And for as much sodium as I'm taking in, it hasn't moved the needle on the sodium level in my blood. But and for me, regular table salt, like Morton's table salt, has a real salty flavor. With the Redmonds, and I haven't bought the Baja Gold. I'm going to try that next. But with the Redmonds, it's not overpowering salty. So that hamburger patty has got just tons of salt in it, and I barely even taste it. So I'm getting a lot more sodium in than I was prior to going carnivore.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? There was something I was thinking, and now I can't remember. So I don't know. It was something to do with the salt, though. As you were talking, and I don't remember now. So well, who cares, right? Let's go on. So I did talk about this one, right? Yes. Okay. So we talked about that one. Okay. I kind of agree there, Greg. It was a bit too much information, but that's okay. Rick says the fermentation preserves the veggies, and he also loves kefir and makes it too. So that's pretty cool, Rick.
Yeah, that's awesome, Rick.
So I was talking about how I still go poop every day, right? Rick does too. It's a lot less amount than what he eats, he says. Yeah,
Me too,
I mean
me too.
that's the thing too. Like it is like just this little bit, and like sometimes I'm like, man, I ate like 2 or 3 pounds of beef today, and I just had this little bit. It was all that came out, but that is true. Like and again, before I was doing carnivore, I probably went 2 to 3 times a day, but it was always like a lot, and now it's just a little bit. But I still do it every day. So I don't know. Some people are different, I guess, because some people go like 3, 4, 5 days. Who knows? Okay. Rockin' Keto Amy is here. So hello.
Hey, Amy.
Vinny made a documentary, and then we got Vinny as a trainer that found no sugar, no grain. He did the fat documentary and the Beyond Impossible documentary. If you haven't seen those movies, you would like them.
I will definitely check those out.
The fat one sounds familiar, but maybe not. I don't know. But I'm not good remembering names, so it could be that I just don't remember him. But I may have seen it. Let me see. When I was having leg cramps, Dr. Boz told me to add mineral salt to my water. Yep. It worked great, so I never stopped. But the leg cramps did. Good. Also had lower sodium levels when I got checked last week, he says. Yeah, I think the reason for that is because our bodies are functioning the way they're supposed to be when we're not eating carbs. So we're not storing excess salt in our body, right, which also means that we're probably keeping our blood pressure lower, right? Because that's part of the contributing factor to high blood pressure. So I eat a ton of salt. It's always Redmonds, but I eat a ton of salt too. I ordered a 10-pound bag of Redmonds online. I've used half of it already, says. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, so Rick says that Vinny did 2 fat documentaries.
Well, I'm definitely going to check him out. I love finding new people to follow. I'm definitely going to check him out. Thank you for that, guys.
Yeah. You know what? This is a perfect segue. I'm kind of caught up on comments. This is a perfect segue. I'm going to show everybody something that I've been working on. And give me 1 second here. Hopefully I can find what I'm looking for. Of course I can't find what I'm looking for. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share this on our screen. And no, that's not the one I want to share. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So this is a database I have created of carnivore diet YouTube channels. Mostly carnivore, some may be borderline carnivore, that type of thing, right? There's over 100 YouTube channels in this database. So I got broken into categories, right? So there's like carnivore coaches, there's doctors. I don't know how can I scroll over? Okay. There's large influencers, so people that have like over 50,000 subscribers or more. I think it was more like closer to 100,000 subscribers. Medium influencers, maybe 10 to 40, 10 to 50, somewhere in there. And I got small channels in here somewhere. Oh, I got nurses, practitioners, professor, people that do recipes, small influencers. You'll see my channel in the small influencer group. So I've got over 100 people on here, and I got links to their channels. This is a good thing, I think, for people that are new, but this is also probably a cool thing for people that are looking for somebody. So I'm going to put, and Rick, yours channel is in there. I don't remember. I went by subscriber count, so I think you're probably in the smaller range, because I think it was like 10,000 or higher to go medium. I think you were under that. I think. I can't remember. But anyway, like I said, there's over 100. I'm going to put a link in here to where you can download a copy of this. Now, I will say, when you go to this, you're going to sign up for my newsletter, but you can unsubscribe right away after you get the actual download if you want to. And if you want to stay, I send out a newsletter typically once a week. Matter of fact, this past week's newsletter that went out, I featured a channel called Norris Carnivore, which is a newer channel in the last, 6 months or so. And that's on the list. But anyway, you can go to that link. I don't have a way to put it on your channel, but it's going to show up in my chat in my channel as well, I think, where you can actually click on it. And then you can, again, you have to enter your name. You just put your first name, is fine, and your email address, because then you're going to get an email with the actual link that you download and open up the file, right? And after that, if you want to unsubscribe, you can, but I think it's a pretty cool newsletter. So, and you only get it like once a week. It's not like I'm spamming people every day. But anyway, over 100 YouTube channels that are pretty much dedicated to carnivore or something like that. There's a few of them in there that are listed as inactive because they haven't posted in a couple of months. So I even have it where you can break it down by inactive and active channels and all that kind of stuff. So you can go check it out. All right, let me catch up. Where were we? Did the crown? She also did the. Okay, so this is Vinny. Also did the Dirty Keto documentary.
And Brian, while we're on that subject right there, some people do well on keto. There's some channels out there, people that I followed for the last couple of years that basically do keto, and they've done pretty well. I, however, because I'm such an addict, I need to abstain from everything. So if I eat a keto treat or whatever, but I don't want to poo-poo on all the carnivore people. I mean, I think that carnivore is the best. Obviously, that's why I do it. But there are people out there that do keto or ketovore, or kind of bounce back and forth, like Greg. Greg kind of did carnivore for a while. He was kind of ketovore more in there. And Greg had a lot of success. He lost 100 pounds. So, I'm not completely against keto and the keto influencers. I think everybody that's trying to cut carbs is headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. Not just carbs, but processed foods in general, right? Yeah. I mean, technically vegetables, fruits are carbs, but they're somewhat okay on keto, especially vegetables, right? Because you're low carb. But the key there is that they're not eating a bunch of processed foods still.
Right.
Processed foods is probably the worst thing for us. And I did keto for 2 to 3 months when I first started before I went to carnivore. I did lose a little bit of weight. For me, at least, I wasn't seeing some of the changes that I wanted to see with my health. I was still having the AFib. It didn't seem like it was getting any better. I still had like back pain and stuff like that. It wasn't until I cut out the carbs, the sugar completely with carnivore that I seem to notice the improvements there. Okay, Paul says the apple cider vinegar lowers blood glucose too, so that's good. That's cool.
Lots of tests out there show that works.
Yes, I do have your email somewhere, Rick. I need to contact you again because we need to have you come on here with us one of these nights, one of these Wednesdays. So we got to get you on, get the three of us going. That'd be a great show.
That would be.
Amy says, I did well on keto for 7 years, lost 110 pounds. It's not until recent that I had a need to try carnivore. Sorry, I can't read that well today. But yes, and I know a lot of people that when I first, so I put out a video earlier today talking kind of about my story. And when I first looked to do something back in 2022, I felt like I was at rock bottom. I didn't have any energy or any of that stuff. And that was the first thing I looked at was keto because I had heard from other people that were feeling better and losing weight with keto. So keto is a pretty good tool, I think. It doesn't work for everybody, but it works for a lot of people. And it works for people that struggle with carnivore. So they work well together. They're part of the proper human diet spectrum, as Dr. Berry would say. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Johnny. I'm talking too much.
No, I was just going to say that keto for a lot of people, and Amy's a perfect example. Keto can be a gateway into carnivore. It's like a transition diet. You know, I went straight from the standard American diet to carnivore, and I paid the price. But that's what I needed to do because as long as I kept having the keto treats, I would never have gone full carnivore. So for a lot of people, keto is a great gateway or segue, if you will, into carnivore. So, Amy, I think Amy just started a new channel too. It's not keto. It's kind of like I guess just like pop culture or whatever kind of going on stuff today. So congrats on that, Amy, for having a new channel, but we're still going to look for you here on the Rockin' Keto Amy, but I'll check out your new channel as well.
Yeah. And the other thing with that, Johnny, so you said that it's good. It's a good transition. There's also people that for one reason or another, they want to go completely eliminating foods. And then they go and slowly add a couple of things back in until they see what actually causes their problems. And so they might have a few foods that they end up adding back in. So those people might actually have started carnivore and then went to ketovore or something, you know? Yeah. So that kind of thing happens too. Carnivorous Dude says that he will eat some avocado from time to time as well.
Perfect example.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yep. I will say I can do something like that, but if I decide to cheat with like a cookie, I can't do that. I can't do that. Maybe some people can. I can't. As soon as I do that, I just want to eat that stuff. I get the cravings back for the sugar and it's bad. So I have to stay strict with that type of a thing, but I can have an avocado or something every once in a while too, if I need to. I'm too much of a sugar addict to go down the slippery slope of processed keto treats. Yes, the whole box. That's another thing. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a lot of things at the store, Johnny, that say they're keto friendly, but then they're a bunch of processed junk.
Yeah. There's I think, I don't know if it's Pillsbury, one of the muffin companies makes a keto muffin mix, and I was buying those, and they had a little more protein than the standard ones, but it was like $7 for this little muffin thing, where the regular one was 99 cents. But it had keto on the package, and I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. But I would make a whole pan of them and eat the entire pan. You flip it over, read the ingredients list, and it had a little more protein than the regular one, and that was basically it. And it had artificial sweeteners in there. But yeah, I fell for that trap. So if it says keto, that doesn't mean that it's clean or that it's actually keto, because artificial sweeteners affect your insulin just like sugar does.
Yep. Yeah, any of those things that say keto, I agree. Say keto friendly or whatever, those are things you got to watch out for.
Yep.
Amy says, "Oh my God, you've seen my channel already." So, Rick, you're right. It's been over 2 years since I interviewed you. We should do an interview again, and you
Yeah.
should come on here and do a live with us. We got to talk about it.
Yep.
I agree with this too. As a carb addict, I don't moderate, so I stay away from starchy or sweet carbs or any shelf-stable keto foods. You know, this is like the whole thing. Like, if you talk to somebody that was like an alcoholic or a drug addict or something, they don't just say, "Oh, I'm going to have just a little bit of alcohol or whatever the drug is that they were a drug addict in," right? They don't say, "Yeah, I'm going to have just a little bit of that and I'll be okay." No, that they stay away from it. They, that they can't, as an addict, they can't have that again because it's going to trigger them. And it's the same way with foods. If you're the person that's going to get triggered, and like I said, like I learned what might trigger me, and I try and stay away from those foods. Unfortunately, I'm not always great at that. I try to be, but try and learn what triggers you, and those are the foods you need to stay away from. Oh, I already said that one. Yep. I missed this. Muffins. Where were we talking about muffins?
I was talking about the keto muffins.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Rick's the OG carnivore. Yep.
He is. And Brian, that brings up another point. Rick
Yep.
having been carnivore for 41, probably going on 42 years now, there's really no need for Rick to supplement. Rick has never been sick. He's always had a very healthy body. He's had a healthy metabolism, as we know, because he eats so much and he stays so thin. So Rick would be a perfect example of somebody who probably will never need to supplement. Rick's acclimated to the heat. He lives in Miami. He works outside. So Rick would be somebody that supplementation would probably not be of any value to him. But for the rest of us that are, been sick, really, really sick for over 50 years, those supplements can maybe help us catch up to Rick a little bit.
Yeah. You know what else too, I think, is some things you only get really in certain types of foods, like iodine, for instance, right? So if you're not eating those foods, because you can be carnivore and not eat the foods that have the iodine, if you're not eating necessarily seafood or maybe eggs, I think have some, that kind of thing, you might need a supplement. And then somebody else might eat those foods and they don't need a supplement. So it can be in a case-by-case scenario with those types of things too. So yeah, that's interesting. Do you have any other stuff on our topic of supplements that you wanted to go over, or did we go over all of them on your list?
There's a couple of things, Brian, that I don't know necessarily I would call supplements. It's not something that you take or you ingest. It's sunlight. Since I've gone carnivore and I've done, all the research that you've done and I've done and everybody watching us has done, I'm looking at things like vitamin D3. Now, obviously in the wintertime, or if you live in an area, like if you lived in Seattle where the sun never shines, you probably need to supplement with vitamin D3, K2, like we talked about earlier. But getting out in the sun, intentionally getting out in the sun with no sunscreen of any kind, of course, with my shirt off, with my shorts on, and get out there and just get that vitamin C. That's supplementing my vitamin C naturally. I also, you and I have talked about this before. We're both big fans of grounding. Just going out there. So when I go out in the morning to get my morning dose of vitamin D from the sun, I try to do it barefoot so I can get the grounding in as well. So, kind of kill two birds with one stone. I also, I'm being in here lately, Brian, and I've seen a couple of studies on this actually, where I'm really big on taking a daily dose of vitamin G.
What is vitamin G?
Grateful. If they've done some studies. People that are grateful, people that have a grateful heart, that are intentionally grateful about the blessings that they have, tend to lower cortisol levels. And if you lower your cortisol level, you tend to burn more fat and be healthier and happier. So I'm trying to get up every day and think of 2 or 3 things that I'm grateful for. My wife, my family, the fact that my dad and my stepmom are still alive, my friendship with you and with Greg and with Rick and everybody. Just try to start your day. At least take a few minutes every day and be grateful for something. And Yeah, Amy got it. She knew what it was. Yeah, so that's just and that's free, and everybody can do it. And you'd be surprised how if you start your day like that, do it tomorrow, Brian, and then tomorrow night let me know how your day went. It's pretty friggin' amazing how it just sets the tone of your day. If you can lower that cortisol, turn on your parasympathetic nervous system, get away from that fight or flight or that sympathetic nervous system, it tends to make you I don't know, feel healthier, happier, sleep better. It's a supplement that everyone can do.
Yeah. I think too, something you hear from people say sometimes is the type of people that you hang out with dictates kind of how you are, right? So if you're around people that are like that are gratifying to others and so forth, and are happy people, you tend to be a happier person as well. I think that's cool. Rick's glad that you think of him as his friend.
Rick's not only
everybody is Rick's friend.
Everybody. But Rick's not only my friend, in a lot of ways, he's my hero. Rick and I both graduated high school in '86. We have a lot in common. I watch his content because it gives me something that I don't get anywhere else. So Rick is a mentor, a hero, and a friend. So I'm grateful to have you in my life, Rick. And I hope that you'll be a part of my life for the rest of my life.
I don't know if Rick knows how many people look up to him because we envy him. Like, he has been doing this for so long, and the benefits that he's had and everything, and we look up to him as somebody that has done this for so long, 41, 42 years, whatever it is now. And that's a really cool thing. It's also gives us maybe a sense of relief that we are right with what we're thinking, because there's so many people out there that says, oh, long-term is bad for you. Well, look at Rick, look at Maggie. No. So I think Rick maybe doesn't realize how many people actually look up to him.
He's just humble that way.
I'm going to go to another question here, but before I go to that question, I wanted to bring up one thing you had mentioned with the vitamin D, and I do actually supplement vitamin D sometime. It's mostly in the wintertime when I do it. This time of year in summer, I'm outside getting a lot more sun. I don't need to do it. But yeah, in the wintertime, a lot of times it's too cold to really be out, or if you are, you've got clothes on, a coat on and stuff, and you're not really getting much absorption into your skin. So I will supplement some vitamin D in the wintertime. Yep. Okay, let me go to this question. My husband ate all the fried pork belly. Is that grounds for divorce? I don't know if I want to get into a marital dispute there. I don't know about you, Johnny.
Legal separation, and go to mediation and work it out, but not a divorce.
I completely agree. Going back to talk about the sun, Carnivore's dude says, the longer you go without seed oils, the longer you can stay in the sun without damage. I 100% agree with that as well. Really do.
Yeah, I was out in the sun. I was out in the direct sun for 3.5 hours a day, sweating, no shirt on, nothing but shorts. I did have socks and shoes on because I was cutting the grass with my riding lawnmower. And I don't have any, I didn't get a tan. I get nothing. And Brian, you have to understand, 2.5, 3 years ago, I would have been burned to a crisp. I would have missed work this entire week. I'd have been so burned. But I guess seed oils is the answer. It makes sense, but absolutely positively no sunburn whatsoever. And I was out there basically all day with no shirt on and sweating.
Yeah. Rick said, don't forget vitamin I. I'm not sure what vitamin I is, so he's going to have to tell us in the chat what vitamin I is. But we're going back to Rick here. Amy says, you have many friends, Rick. Carnivore's dude, you are everyone's quack. I mean, friend. I love Rick because he is a nice guy and is very smart and can do many things. Yep. Jack of all trades. True.
Yeah. Name a subject Rick doesn't know a lot about. You can't think of one. I don't care if it's vegetables, if it's heating and air, if it's electricity, if it's the government, if it's the banking system. Rick knows a lot about a lot of stuff. That's another reason why I envy him.
So he says envy is funny. I guess people just want to be tall. But you know what, Rick? I am 6'4", so I'm not much shorter than you, and I still envy you. Bride's biscuit got out every morning to get sun for vitamin D and reset circadian rhythm. I pray and give thanks for my many blessings. Getting out early in the morning too is really good time for the vitamin D from the sun. You know, to get your body to basically synthesize it, I guess, whatever, you know, your skin.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Iguana is vitamin I. There we go.
We should have known.
Yeah. I wonder, does iguana have iodine in it? I bet you it does.
Rick, that's a topic for you to find out. Is there it's got to be, it's so close to the ocean where he's at.
Yeah. Amy says, so interesting, skin cancer runs in my family. My brother has it. He is on a sad diet and works for AT&T in the sun all day. I wonder if his diet is the cause. I mean, I really believe two things, the seed oils, and then I feel that some of the sunscreens out there are actually really bad as well, and they're harming us.
And Brian, on that, Amy, if you'll have your brother, or if you guys will look up Dr. Thomas Seyfried. Dr. Thomas Seyfried. He is a cancer expert. He's in one of the big Ivy League universities, and he says that cancer is a metabolic disease, and he treats it and looks at it completely differently. So look up Dr. Thomas Seyfried. Do your brother a favor. Send him that. Anybody that has cancer of any type. I'm not saying that there's anything to that, but this man has he spent 50 years studying cancer, cause and effect. And so I would certainly do some research with Dr. Thomas Seyfried.
Yeah. Vitamin iguana. So Carnivorous Dude says it's his first visit here. So I'm glad you're here. Glad you decided to join us tonight. Yeah, we do this every Wednesday night, by the way, at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So, and hey, Bill is here.
Bill, good to see you,
7
Bill.
Central. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central.
Yeah. Of course, I think he's in Eastern time zone, Columbus. You got to get over like to Indy to get into the Central time zone.
Yeah. Yep. Ohio still Eastern. Boopy Goats is here. Agree with everything you said about Rick. Yep. Rick is our Doc Emmett Brown.
Absolutely.
Rick is just happy that he's not the only one who eats this way anymore.
Yeah,
not alone anymore.
You know, because Rick didn't have a community at all for up until like about 6 or 7 years ago. Rick had no community for this. How amazing is it that Rick is a part of our community, but we actually give Rick the community that he was strong enough to do this without us. But I'm so glad we're all together now. I'm grateful.
His last sunburn was in 1983. Jeez.
That's a month before he started Carnivore, probably.
Yeah, I think so, actually. Yep, I'm obsessed with Dr. Seyfried.
I think it's professor. I think he has a PhD, but it's professor.
Professor.
Yeah.
Well, PhD is like the doctor, professor. Yeah. Call him just about anything. It's not an MD. Yeah. So, Andy, I just got here. Hello, Andy. Good to see you.
Yeah.
I met him in Boston at the end of June. So I think we're talking about Seyfried.
Probably. Yeah.
He is amazing. Bill agrees about when we were talking about the cancer from metabolic disorders. He says, I bet everything comes from metabolic disorders.
Yeah. Well, think about everything that you've had, Brian, and that I've had, and everybody on here has had, that we got away from. We improved our metabolic health, and the things went away. For me, plantar fasciitis, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, diabetes, all of that went away when I cleaned up my diet. Who's to say cancer wouldn't do the same thing?
Yeah, it's true. Rick is not the only meat weirdo anymore. Professor Seyfried agrees with epigenetics. Did I say that right? As part of cancer being metabolic.
Yeah.
Epigenetics. Okay.
Yeah. Epigenetics means before genetics. Like if cancer was a genetic thing, everybody down the line would have it or have, epigenetics means it's outside of your genetics.
Okay. Rick says he has learned so much about the health benefits of carnivore, never realized all it did for him before.
Yeah.
Cancer does thrive on sugar. Yes. Bill took 2 days off from his walking. I got to get back to walking. It's been a while since I've walked. I haven't done like any real good exercise, like specific exercise, since I had the issue with the antibiotic. I've done things outside, like, working out in the yard and stuff like that. That's kind of a workout because it's just is strenuous and so forth. But I haven't done like a set exercise thing of walking or lifting weights or anything like that. I got to get back into it. Yeah. Rick says he looks fairly good for a 57-year-old. It's amazing. What eating this way does.
And Bride Biscuit said cancer does thrive on sugar. My mother died of lung cancer about 7.5 years ago. And while she was getting her chemotherapy, I'm not making this up, they gave her donuts, honey buns, orange juice, and cookies. They had them out for everybody getting chemotherapy. And if I know that cancer thrives on sugar, and Bride's Biscuit knows that, and everybody in this chat knows that, surely to God, those people knew that, and they still gave all those cancer patients cookies, Pop-Tarts, honey buns, orange juice, every time they sat down to do chemotherapy. They didn't have any protein or fat options. It was all high glucose stuff. But Brian, this is something that you may not know. Let me ask the question out here, guys. What one medication out there are the drug companies allowed to pay the doctor cash payments directly if it's prescribed?
I'm pretty sure I know this one. Starts with an S, right?
No. Now, the statin producer, you're thinking of statins, and statins,
yes,
they can, in a roundabout way, pay for the doctor's vacation, pay for, Airbnb at the beach or whatever. They can do that. But a direct cash payment can go from a chemotherapy drug manufacturer or chemotherapy drug directly to the oncologist. They can have a direct cash payment. That was a carve out that was done 20-something years ago. So if a doctor prescribes chemo to you or your family member, they're going to get a direct cash payment from the chemotherapy pharmaceutical company.
So here's an interesting comment. Andy, I am a contrarian, so I kind of question everything, including the recommendation to exercise. I believe it doesn't really matter when you eat a carnivore diet. This is an interesting one. I'll ask you what you think, Johnny. I'm going to put my opinion out here first, and I'm going to say that I think it does matter and make a difference. I think you can go without exercising with a carnivore diet and you're probably still okay. But I think exercising on top of it is just kind of like the icing on the cake or icing on the steak in this case, because we're talking about carnivore. But and let me say this, like when you go back to early humans and look at that, because what did we do then? That was before they made all these processed foods and all that stuff, right? They were eating meat, but maybe they weren't doing like specific, like, hey, I'm going to go exercise today, but it's because they were very active. We aren't as active anymore. And I think that's the key. If you can stay active, like Rick, for instance, he goes out, rides his bike to the store and so forth, and he's very active. But if you're not active like me, where you sit at a computer all day, you kind of need to do something, I think, to keep yourself active. And I think that's the key, is keeping yourself active. Because one thing that happens as you age and you continue to get older, if you're not being active and you're not using those muscles, you lose them. And what do you think about this topic, Johnny?
Well, that's a great thing. And Andy, I don't know how old you are, Andy. I'm 58. I'll be 59 on my next birthday in March. So I'm 58 and a half. And you might not need to exercise. And the carnivore diet will fix a lot of medical problems. It did for me before I ever started exercising. But I'm here to tell you, as somebody that takes care of geriatric people, now these people are not carnivores, But the older you get, when you start having muscle breakdown, you start having something called sarcopenia, and it's going to happen to everybody. You can be carnivore to the day you die. You're still going to go through muscle wasting in the aging process. Your fast twitch muscle fibers die off. Your slow twitch muscle fibers dry off. So by exercising, like Brian said, it's kind of adding the cherry on top, if you'll pardon the pun. It's adding the icing to the cake of the other pun. But by exercising, you enhance the carnivore diet. Maybe not so important if you're 30, 35 years old, but hit 65, 70, 75 years old. You still want to be able to get up off the couch. You still want to be able to run after something. If you drop something on the ground, you want to run after it and catch it. If you want to play with your grandkids, exercising, and it doesn't have to be a specific, I'm going to lift, this barbell or do these push-ups, whatever. Just moving your body, purposely moving your body. That's why we have muscles, tendons, ligaments. That's why we have joints. That's why we can do all this. We are designed as a species to move our bodies. But do you need to do exercise to have success on the carnivore diet? No. But if you want to have optimal success, then yes, you need to exercise. And that's just my thoughts. I could be wrong.
This is going to take us back to where we were talking about the cancer patients. My 4-year-old great nephew has to have rotted teeth pulled because his mom gives him H8. Is that V8? V8 juice?
Yeah,
I don't know. H8. Juice before bed every night. And Carnivore's dude says they still give them sugar cancer patients. The other thing I was going to say here too is the last time I went to the cardiologist, they had a bowl of candy in the waiting room there. Like a cardiologist, candy. I don't understand what they're thinking. It doesn't make any sense. They've got all these people coming in with heart issues. A lot of them are really older people too, and they're giving them candy. I don't know.
Brian, it makes perfect sense from a profit standpoint. If everybody gets healthy, they go out of business.
So for Andy to clarify, does not mean he's against exercise, just that because I think it is great fun to have. I'm not sure that it's fun when you're actually doing the exercise, though. Maybe depending on what you're doing, but yeah. Yep. Okay. Holly, hello, Holly. I am a retired licensed practical nurse, and our nutrition training was a joke. Medical personnel are not trained in nutrition. Yeah, I've heard that like the doctors get 1 semester based on nutrition, and it's basically how to keep someone alive that needs a feeding tube. So they don't really get nutrition training in their education at all.
Oh, gives him juice. I see where
gives
Amy
him
said
juice.
Yeah, it gives him juice. Yeah.
Okay.
And most juices are just nothing but sugar bombs.
Yep. So Bill says I don't ride my bike like I did when I was a kid. I don't even have a bike anymore. That's another reason why I envy Rick. He's always on his bike. I need to get a bike.
Rick took his out of somebody's dumpster, out of somebody's trash can.
Roger, hello. I believe that the carnivore diet will help you be healthy and the best version of yourself.
I agree.
Adding duck egg to the steak.
Brian, have you ever had a duck egg?
I have not. Have you?
No, but I'd like to try it. I see a lot of influencers on here having it. I'd like to try it.
Yeah. So Andy says he's 48. He'll consider what you're saying about muscle wasting. I just haven't seen that in my own life, but maybe I will. Yeah. That's the thing. A lot of the older people and a lot of the people that lift weights and stuff that are older will tell you that's one of the big things with aging is you kind of slow down the aging process if you are staying active. If you're not using those muscles, you lose them. It's just kind of one of those things that you see as people age. I mean, I'm not there either, really. I'm at 51, and I don't feel like that has happened to me yet. But as you get older, 60s, 70s, like Johnny's getting close to 60 now. It starts to become a bigger thing. And I think if you can continue, or if you can try and work out more while you're still younger, it's going to help you because if you wait until you're older to then decide, oh, I'm starting to lose some of that, maybe it is right and I do need to do that, you're going to kind of be a little bit behind the 8 ball. Whereas if you're already doing it, like Dr. Sean Baker out there, obviously that's an extreme case, but he's been working out his entire life. I'm never going to look like that because I wasn't working out my entire life. So, yes, here's the thing about misspelling juice. Oh, Cynthia's here. Hello. Sorry I'm late.
Hey, Cynthia.
So what are they talking about? We've been talking about a lot of things tonight. I have no idea.
It was supplementations, Cynthia. Do people need to supplement on the carnivore diet? And we talked about different things that people might supplement with. And Rick said he doesn't supplement, but like me and Brian said, Rick has been doing this so long. He's so adapted to this that he really doesn't need to supplement. But a lot of us who have been sick for a lot of years, taking some supplements is probably not a bad idea. You can go back and watch it in the first part of the show. We talk about that a lot. And then we've kind of gone off the rails a little bit since then, but it's been great conversation. But I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. So I said that I do vitamin D in the wintertime. I'm trying to think what else might I do. Oh, I do take some fish oil. A fairly high quality one from Norway, which if you are going to take them, you got to be careful because some of them have bad stuff in them, metals and stuff. But I do that. And probably if I ate more seafood, I'd probably be better, like salmon and stuff like that. But I do that. And again, it's just because I'm not eating maybe something that I should be. But I haven't had any problems with iodine, so I haven't done anything with that really. I don't eat any vitamin C or, any of that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's not really much in the way of supplementation for me. I mean, I will say just really quickly, I do this Stem Enhance Ultra and Plasma Flow. These aren't really like nutritional supplements, but the Plasma Flow helps your circulation, blood circulation and stuff. And the Stem Enhance Ultra helps to release your stem cells because as you get older, they kind of get stuck and don't get released into your bone marrow. So I take that and it helps to release more of my own stem cells, which help to repair and stuff. That's like when you're younger, you tend to bounce back from injuries quicker, and you're older, not as much because of those stem cells. So those are a couple things I take, but they're not really like, I don't consider them supplements. They're not like nutritional type of supplements, that type of thing. So where were we? Let's see. I think this was about exercise. I like it when I'm done. I think so.
Yeah.
Amy is actually typing while she's walking on the treadmill. That's great. That's fantastic. Yes, Rick is great at finding stuff. Most of my stuff is trash picked.
Well, Rick recycles a lot of stuff. I mean, he's really into that recycling thing, like stuff that people would be junk to others. Rick can find a use for it and make, he's done it with several things. The bike is just one great example.
Yeah. I am not good at typing on the treadmill. That's what I'm usually doing in the late morning lives. Okay. Cynthia says nutritionists don't want the nurses to give any advice on diet. By the way, Cynthia, I believe, is a retired nurse. Just put it out there. I've gotten into trouble when I said something that the nutritionist didn't believe was true. Of course, I was vegan then. Carnivorous dude, 50 and have never felt better. And I have been on carnivore for 3 years now. Hey, I'm very close to the same thing. I'm 51. I'm a little over 3 years on the carnivore diet. And I tell you, before I started the carnivore diet, I was 48 and I probably felt like I was 60 or 70. And now I'm 51 and I feel like I'm in my 30s. I really do.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
So Cynthia was talking about, kind of getting in trouble. I'll give you a quick thing. My brother, Steve, and Steve, if you're watching this, hey, brother, he has decided to go carnivore. He's 17 months older than me. He had quadruple bypass heart surgery at the ripe old age of 43. And he struggled with his triglycerides. Like me, he's a sweet addict. He loves sweets. He drinks a little alcohol. I don't drink at all, but he drinks a little bit, not a lot, but just when he was with friends on the weekends, maybe. We had his blood work done recently, and his triglycerides were 800 plus. And before his heart attack, his triglycerides were over 1,200. And so he's been watching my content, and I've been, begging him and trying to get him to go carnivore. So he put a post on Facebook. He'd gone to the grocery store and bought a bunch of grass-fed, grass-finished beef. He bought some pork. He bought some sardines. He bought some tuna, all the stuff to get started. And a good friend of his, there's actually a mutual friend of ours who was a dietitian. Wait, Steve, don't do that. You need low fat. You need, cut your calories. And she means well, but she's a registered dietitian, and she basically poo-pooed everything that I've been saying. So we'll have to see what my brother decides to do, if he wants to follow kind of my lead. And she's a good girl. We've known her our whole life. She's a sweet girl. She's just doing what she was trained to do. But I tried that whole low fat, eat less, move more. And I have never, ever, ever felt worse than I did then. I shivered for a daggum year. I couldn't regulate my body temperature because I didn't have any fat. And I lost 100 pounds pretty quickly. But I've never been so cold in the 100-degree heat because I could not control my body temperature. Anyway, that was a little aside. This made me, when she said that she got in trouble for saying something about a nutritionist, made me think of that. But if you're watching, Steve, hello, I love you, brother.
Go Carnivore. Sorry.
Go Carnivore.
Okay. Roger, 44, have always yo-yoed on weight, have been a carnivore for 2.5 months, lost 33 pounds. Body composition is improving a lot. That is great. Congratulations.
Good job, Roger.
Amy is asking what my channel name is again. I'll put it in here. You could probably find it by typing in Wicko's Carnivore, but if you go to on YouTube, it's at Wickivore. So either way, you can probably find it there. Cynthia says she's gonna have to watch the replay. Yes. If you can't catch us live, you can always watch the replay. I usually get I've been getting about 50 to 100 views on the replay before the next week's video. So that's after what we did in the live. So yeah.
Yeah, Brian, I did our analytics from last week's show. That's the most replays we've ever had. And it's growing every week, but last week was, I think I had 130 something. You had 106 or something like that. So we did really well in replays.
Yeah, that's good. Carnivorous dude is asking Nordic fish. It's like some kind of Norwegian something. I can't remember the name of it, and I don't have it with me. I'll have to look sometime and see. It's like a blue bottle. I don't remember, but yeah. Back to Roger. I started supplementing with iodine. I am very bought on the fact that over 90% of us are deficient on it. Yeah, a lot of people are. I'm trying to remember. There's something I learned. I think it was from Dr. Barry, one of the doctors, about how you can tell if you need any iodine or not. And it's something that you do on your skin. Maybe it was actually from Professor Bart K. And I did a video on it once. There's some kind of a test you can do with your skin. And I think it's putting a drop of the iodine drop on your skin, maybe, and then see like how long it takes to turn to a certain color or something. I have to go back. Maybe it's the back of the hand or something. It's something on your skin, or maybe somebody knows. They can put it in the comment. But that is a good way to find out if you need it or not. Like I used to eat a lot of shrimp, and I think that's why I'm okay. Because anytime I've checked, I seem to be fine. I don't seem to need it. So I think it depends on the people. But there are a lot of people, I think, that are deficient. And that's probably why so many years ago, they added iodine to regular table salt, because people weren't getting it. Let's see. Rick needs to go shrimping. Creatine. We have not talked about that. That's a good one. I've dabbled a little bit with it in the past. What about you, Johnny?
I haven't, but I've seen some of our carnivore doctors, some of the ones you have listed on that spreadsheet you had, have talked, like Dr. Boswell, Annette Boswell, Dr. Boz. She's real big on it. So especially for women, but a lot of the male doctors are saying that it's a naturally occurring substance in your body, so you're not putting anything abnormal in there. And the thing used to be, I think it was 5 milligrams a day or whatever, and now they've done some research and saying that's markedly too little, that you should do a lot more. I have not done it, but I'm not averse to doing it. I'm going to do some more research and see. I don't want to go get some crappy stuff from the local GNC or whatever, but I wouldn't mind doing some more research. But that's a great one, Bill. We didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Carnivore's Dude says, I tried D3K2 supplement this past winter and it gave me inflammation. This is an interesting thing because that's another thing too. Like, I kind of feel like supplements, you have to have a real reason to use them. Otherwise, don't use them.
Right.
Like, make sure that you really need it, like you're deficient or something. Otherwise, I think we probably don't really need it. And that's a thing that can happen, like, especially if, and it may not be in this case, it might just be something that just didn't work for you. But some of the supplements that are out there just aren't very high quality and they're probably causing more damage. I mentioned Professor Barquet. He did a video before where he and his partner looked at fish oils, and the ones that they looked at, most of them had bad stuff in them, toxins that we wouldn't want to have. So, yeah. I've seen influencers and doctors say a majority of fish oil supplements are rancid. This is funny. I didn't even see this comment, but it's true. I just took that money and include farm-raised salmon and sardines a few times per month. Yeah, that's what I need to eat more salmon because then I probably don't need to do fish oil. But I did make sure that I did get a pretty high quality one. That is something you do really have to watch out for. Cynthia's asking Bill if it was powder form or a pill. When I did creatine in the past, I did it like with workouts. It was powder that I was using. It was like a teaspoon that I would use in powder. I don't know about Bill. Maybe he mentioned it. Got over my cold in 2 days. That was awesome. That's the power of Carnivore. Rick still feels like he's 25. Another reason why I'm envious of him. Oh, check this out. My triglycerides were 48 this last time. That does a great number. Mine continued to come down.
Mine was 76, Brian. Do you know what yours was on your last one?
Let me see. Do I have that open? Am I looking? I got it open. They were 134, but one of my medications raises your triglycerides.
That's right. Your blood pressure.
Before I started Carnivore, they were 273.
Wow.
Last year, after 2 years on Carnivore, they were 160, and now they're 134. So it's slowly going down. I really believe it would be under 100 if I didn't have that medication. So I don't know. I got to figure that out.
But Ricks are amazing.
Yep. Registered dietitians have to follow stringent guidelines and have outdated information. Totally agree with that as well.
Yeah, they lose their job if they don't.
Oh, back to your brother, Johnny. Cynthia says, I hope he'll follow you. Follow you. Not father you, but follow you.
Well, he's like a dad.
It's been a long
anyway.
Here's my channel again, in case you need to see it. Just trying to catch up a little bit. Just subbed. I think she might be saying to my channel. She was saying that from your channel. So thank you, Amy.
Yeah.
What do we got? There's some stuff I think I missed here, so I'm lost. I'm lost, so I'm skipping over. They added dextrose to table salt. That's what I was talking about. The iodine. Yeah. Table salt's not good stuff where you find a high quality, something like Redmond's or pink Himalayan salt, something like that. A good sea salt is what you want to find. Dr. Mary and Michael Edis say that red meat causes creatine is naturally produced. It is. That is correct. That is correct. What about methylene blue?
Methylene blue.
Um,
I've seen a lot
yeah,
of bad stuff about methylene blue. I'm not convinced that it's a healthy thing. A lot of the stuff that I've seen that's positive about it is AI generated, and you can tell that it's AI generated. All the stuff that the doctors that I follow, Dr. Berry did a thing on it, Dr. Boswell, and they said it's for a very select group of people for a very limited amount of time it can help. But I don't think I fall in that category. And I don't know. I think the jury's still out on methylene blue. It is for me anyway.
Yeah. I was doing 30 of creatine. I'm not sure what 30 is. Nasty
30
stuff.
milligrams,
I
30
took.
grams.
It sounds like a lot. I don't know.
Yeah.
I took the powdered stuff and it didn't dissolve. Tastes terrible and is gritty. Yeah. So I used the powdered stuff. And I would put it in with an electrolyte mix, because if I did it was when I had worked out. So I would do it with like an electrolyte mix and then I couldn't taste it. So I'm not sure about if I just did it with water. I read Dr. Marianne Michael Eda's book, The Protein Power Life Plan, which states the creatine naturally is produced when you eat fatty red meat. That is correct. And some people believe that there's benefits with getting more, particularly with working out, either before your workout or after your workout. So I think that's why some people supplement it. Or they just, again, they might be somebody where they're in a particular position with their health that maybe they need a little bit more of it. I didn't mention this collagen. I completely forgot.
Yeah,
That is my
too.
supplement. I drink a collagen mix every day, and I probably don't get like, bone broth as much as I should and stuff like that has more of the collagen. But I stopped taking it for a while because I was like, I'm on a carnivore diet. Why am I doing this? And I didn't feel as good. And I started taking it again recently, and I'm feeling better. My nails and my skin seem better and so forth. So that's another thing, you get collagen in the carnivore diet, but some people might need more for some reason. Creatine can be found in eggs. Sometimes I go on kicks with eggs and sometimes I don't. Like in the last month, I've hardly had any eggs. It's been almost all beef. So here we go. Bill is using the powder on the creatine, by the way. I am currently experimenting with a supplement called Minerals. It has all essential minerals that you need as a man. Interesting.
Yeah, let us know how it goes if it makes you feel better.
Yeah. Rick hasn't had a prescription since he was a kid.
Of course.
Yep. Quality and additives and supplements are always a concern. Also will create imbalances. Electrolytes are a good example. Sodium, magnesium, and potassium is delicate balance that can be thrown off. Yep. Either too little or too many or too much can be a problem. And they can actually be a serious problem.
Yeah, Brian.
Semi-retired Bob. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say about the last comment. I've heard people getting these supplement powders, whether it be the LMNT or the Salty or whatever, and having 3 or 4 or 5 of them a day. That seems kind of excessive to me. You can get toxic buildup from too many of these electrolytes. So I just do one. If I was really sweaty and if I was really having a really busy day outside in the heat, I might do a second one. But so far, I've only done one, and I don't have leg cramps. I don't have any problem with that. But I have heard of people really overdoing it on these electrolytes. So to your point, it's probably not the safest thing to do.
I'm glad you brought that up because that is true. And I have seen posts from people before say like, oh, yeah, I have it in the morning and I have it in the evening. I'm like, maybe that first couple of weeks of carnivore, but even then, that seems like too much. Be careful. I don't know.
Yep.
Paul says semi-retired Bob has the best carnivore heart recovery story. He is in my list too. Obviously of over 100 people in that file that I had. He's great. I've actually interviewed him. I think he interviewed me once too for his channel. I know I interviewed him for my channel. Yeah, he's a great guy. My bodybuilder friend got me to use creatine. I use it as a seasoning on my meats. There you go. That's one way to look at it.
Yep,
Put it on meats. Carnivore is king. Yes, yes. Collagen and beef cheeks. beef cheeks. Is that right? I
Yep,
don't know.
yep.
Interesting.
They
Bone
sell them
broth is my collagen supplement.
store.
Yep. I don't have bone broth enough.
Me
So,
neither.
yeah. Wow, Rick hasn't had any beef in over a week. Eating
Wow.
iguana, huh? Chicken, I'm
Duck,
sure.
probably.
I'm feeling jumpy. I'm not sure. The last time I had a prescription, it was in a glass bottle. I still have the bottle. Wow. Glass bottle for the prescription. Wow. AP says, hello from Alberta, Canada. Hello, AP. I tried
AP.
iodine and my hypothyroid got worse. Unfortunately, I was hoping it would help stop hair loss. Maybe I need more fat in my diet. So if you're losing a lot of weight quickly, that will cause hair loss too. But yeah, that's a perfect example with iodine. Like you should really check to make sure you do need it. There's a lot of people that need it, but it may not help at all. It could possibly even cause other issues if you don't need it and you're taking too much or something.
Yeah, and that's
Just
a
little bit
blood test. They can do a blood test and see what your iodine levels are.
Yeah, they can. Bob is one of the carnivore influencers who mentioned me regularly. Yeah, he does. I think a lot of people mention you regularly, Rick. Amy says, I still get leg cramps after 7 years and take electrolytes. I think I have the, MTH, I don't know, whatever it is.
It's a very
Gene,
specific
because
gene.
my sister has it. I've seen that before, but I've never heard it pronounced, so I don't know what it is. But anyways, because my sister has it, so I wonder if I don't metabolize them. It's possible. I don't know. It could be just one particular electrolyte too, like maybe the magnesium or something that you need. It's hard to say, but that's why I say, like, it depending on your situation and medically and stuff, people might need supplements when other people don't. There you go. Rick had pork chicken and yes, iguana. Oh, Holly says, I stalled for a year. I saw Dr. Kilt's interview with a thyroid doc that said not to take with thyroid issues. So there you go. Be careful with the iodine then. I only have half my thyroid, so I stopped the iodine and broke my saw. Interesting. Target Prime Rib. Hello. First time on here. Good to see you here. I see him on Dr. Kilt's channel a lot.
Yeah, I've seen him before out there too. Welcome. Thanks for joining us, Target Prime Rib.
Rick has never had a leg cramp in his life. Wow.
Well, you don't know what you're missing, Rick, because they are miserable.
Yeah, Paul says you can do a urine test for iodine. Like I said, I know you can do a simple test yourself at home with your skin, and I think it's with the drop of the iodine. Look up Bart K iodine, because I'm pretty sure he's the one that has the video on it. I did a video on it too, based on what he had told me. You can look on my channel too, if you can find it. But yeah, that there is a way to do it at home if you don't want to go to the doctor and find that out. Let's see. Iodine is very essential. Some people are getting enough of it in their food, especially if they're eating like seafood and stuff. But it is essential. So Rick says, would someone get a leg cramp from cycling? If they are dehydrated, definitely. Like you see that happen with athletes, right? They'll be out there running or something and they get a cramp. So if you're dehydrated, it definitely happens. Or you're
Also,
low on
Rick,
your electrolytes, which is dehydration.
Like if you hadn't ridden a bicycle in a while and you jump on it, you ride a whole bunch or ride up a steep hill or whatever, and you use muscles, overuse the muscles you haven't used in a while, you can get leg cramps from that as well.
Amy says, if you guys ever get a cramp in your big toe, those are the worst. I haven't. Where I usually get them is like in the calf, in the back. It's been a long time since I've had one, but yeah, anytime I feel a cramp starting back there, actually, I'll get some red mint salt, put it on my tongue, and then drink down some water, and it usually helps get rid of it. Toe and foot cramps where you can't stand on your foot is the worst. Yep. I think I'm actually caught up on comments. Check that out.
Yep.
It's taken all night to do that. We're an hour and a half in, and I finally caught up on comments.
Mhm.
So,
But it's
Johnny,
been
let me
great
ask you, is there anything else that we missed that we should have been talking about with the supplementation?
No, I hate that we missed the whole creatine and the collagen. I wish we'd have got to that, but you covered it pretty well. And like the creatine and somebody else put choline or whatever it was out there. I eat a lot of eggs, so I'm probably getting my fair share of everything I need. Plus, I've gone to pretty much 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. So, and I just get the ground beef because it's today it was $5.49 a pound at Aldi. My wife got me some at Aldi today. So I can afford that. I can't afford the grass-fed, grass-finished ribeye, but I can get the ground beef. So I'm pretty much doing pasture-raised eggs and grass-fed, grass-finished beef, and so I'm probably getting all the nutrients I need and don't need to supplement a whole bunch. But if something comes out that I feel like will help me or help me feel better, then I'm not averse to supplementing.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. All right. Well, we are over an hour and a half. I think we should wrap it up at this point. I don't know what our topics can be next week, but we'll be back again next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central.
Yeah.
Any last words before we go?
No, I'd just like to thank everybody for joining. Welcome to our new people that came on to join us and watch. I hope you'll subscribe to Brian's channel and to my channel if you haven't already. But we sure do appreciate everybody. This is getting bigger and bigger, and we're loving it.
Yep. So I'm gonna answer this real quick, and then we can go. Weightlifting. So I was doing really good, right? And I was kind of doing that 60-day transformation thing, and I got like 40 days in, and then I got sick, and I had the antibiotic and had all that problem. I stopped, and I haven't gotten back into it. So I got to get back into it. So yeah, I need to get back into it. It's not going very well at all. But hey, I'll get back to it. So all right. Thank you, everybody. As Johnny said, it's been great. We'll see you guys again next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Bye, everybody.